Let's start. So, hello everybody. My name is Abdullah Ibrahim and I'm multi-point sales director for the Middle East market. And today we are gonna continue our webinars with a special session about Resec technology, and Resec team will present its technology later within few minutes. But before that, I just wanna give a quick overview about multi-point or our updates in multi-point group. So just let me give a slide. Sorry. So multi-point is a cybersecurity distributor. We are existing in few countries, few territories, East Europe, Israel, Greece, Cyprus, and Middle East. Lately, we launched our office in Dubai, as well as in Serbia. We are existing in countries like Cyprus, Greece, Romania, Malta, Dubai, Israel, and we have some kind of representative offices in Milano, Portugal, and Spain because of our strategic alliance agreement we had with NGCom, another cybersecurity distributor, and we are sharing resources and tools together. We have a wide portfolio of solutions from A to Z for the cybersecurity field. And today we will talk only about Resec and what is Resec and why Resec is very important for you as an organization, even you are small or big. And I will give Mr. Talia Tziv, CEO of Resec, and his team to present and to show a quick demo. In multi-point, we have also a professional team who can deliver pre-sale, after-sale, and other tasks that we can handle it together with our partner everywhere. And now I just want to give and switch to Resec team. Hello, Mr. Tal. Hello, Mr. Asaf and John. Thank you for joining this webinar. Thank you for being part of our portfolio, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Abdallah. I really appreciate the warm introduction. Hello, everyone. It's a great opportunity to present Resec to you. I will share my screen in just a second, and we'll walk you through a little bit of our background, straight into the big problem that we're solving and our solution and why it's so unique in today's environment and so necessary given the threats that we're all encountering. I will show a demonstration, as Abdallah was saying, and I'll make sure to stop in every few slides to make sure that if you have any questions, we can take them on. So again, thank you for your time, and let's begin. This is obviously not us, the gym membership, but there we go. Okay. So Resec is a cybersecurity solution. What we're doing is providing zero trust for documents, essentially the ultimate protection from file-based malware threats, covering both known threats as well as unknown threats, 0 days, which is one of the biggest weakness of current traditional detection solutions. A bit of an introduction about us. So we have a senior management team with background from both large corporations as well as leading startups, people from JP Morgan, from Microsoft, from McAfee, from Get, from Checkpoint, and more and more and more. We have investors from all over the world. We have leading VCs from Israel, Hong Kong, the US. We have a major corporation, a very large insurance group in Talanx from Germany, and others. We have prominent company advisors, people that come from very strong security backgrounds and give us very strong credibility in that regard of our innovative solution. A very quick snapshot. Our goal is very simple. We want to make sure that every document that comes into the organization goes through Resec, and that Resec ensures that every document is delivered to the end user completely threat-free and with zero interruption to business as usual. This is a game changer in the security space. All of our technology has been built in-house by our CTO, who's our founder, and his engineering team. We hold multiple patents and the highest level of certification from Israel. It allows us to work with government, defense, basically most of the sensitive organizations that you can imagine. We serve dozens of customers worldwide. We can share a select few logos here, but what we're basically showing is a demonstration of successful case studies from most industries. Military and defense on the left, finance and critical infrastructure. We serve Israel's largest bank, as well as the Federal Reserve. We serve the largest telco in the country, national water companies, oil and gas, governments from all over the world, and more. We're expanding very rapidly worldwide. We have unique partnerships with large channel partners, distributors, resellers, integrators all over the world. We're extremely proud of the new partnership with Multipoint, which obviously is what brings us here today. Jumping straight into it, let's talk about the problem that we're looking to solve. So as many of you may know, I'll skip right here. As many of you may know, malware is continuing to grow very rapidly. Unfortunately, not slowing down, massive growth year on year. What we're seeing is a trend shifting into ransomware attacks, where there's a tremendous growth since 2019, 485% year on year. We're seeing that the total damage in 2020 reaching $20 billion is just staggering. And this amount is growing rapidly, expected to reach $35 billion in a couple of years. As you are probably seeing on a regular basis, this is hitting the news. We're seeing large organizations again and again getting hit by ransomware, trying to solve the massive risk that this presents to their organization, usually results in massive remediation fees that are not only stopping with the dollars paid, but obviously reputation risk. We're talking about the massive risk of data theft and loss, the impact on the business, legal, compliance, regulation, and so on and so forth. The fascinating thing out of all of this is that more than 90% of the attacks are coming from documents. Again, more than 90% coming from documents. When we're saying documents, we're talking about email bodies, we're talking about the Office suite, we're talking about PDFs, but also many non-standard formats. Our customers have unique formats that are categorized by region, by industry, and also by company. We have several customers that actually have created their own document type in order to increase security. So this is, again, the #1 leading factor of malware attacks. What we're seeing is that the trend of shifting over to security at the endpoint is not good enough. 75% of companies that fall victim to ransomware have up-to-date leading endpoint protection solutions on the infected machines. Our approach is completely different. We are a gateway security solution. We aim to stop all of the threats outside of the organization's network. Again, stopping everything in the front. If you're soccer fans, if any of you are soccer fans, the difference is having the field with a goalie alone trying to stop every kick that the opponent is trying to score, versus having another 11 players out there, another 10 players out there, trying to minimize the amount of times that there are shots on goal, therefore making the goalie a lot more effective. In this scenario, we are the 10 players, the goalie is the endpoint solution. As gateway security solutions, we are facing traditional solutions and some next stage solutions, all of them with significant limitations in security and in usability. I'll talk about some very common ones that I'm sure your organizations are using. Antiviruses, as well as next-gen AVs, are relying on detection technology, basically dealing with known malware only. So they have a massive shortstop when we're talking about 0 days. We're talking about false positives, false negatives, alert fatigue. Major issue with that. This is basically the most basic solution out there today. A big step up are sandboxes. So sandboxes are much stronger from a security standpoint. Most organizations are using them, yet they're creating a big limitation on both security and usability. From a security standpoint, they can be bypassed. They're only dealing with known malware. They tried to stop 0 days, but not with great success rates. And the main problem that they have is on the usability side. So in usability, what sandboxes are known for are being a massive bottleneck, basically processing each document for 2.5 minutes on average, meaning that the impact on the end user is a very significant one. They can also, in this regard, have a major issue in being scaled up, both because of the latency, also because of their cost. They have limitations in processing encrypted documents and extra large files. So again, a strong security solution in respect to antiviruses, but a very limited one in other regards. Because of these limitations, organizations are forced to shift and add restrictive policies. And that's when they go in a completely different direction, basically trying to ensure that nothing gets in. How do you do that? You eliminate some business processes and you impact the business. So for example, do not bring in a USB to work, or don't download from a certain location, or don't open certain emails, and so on and so forth. This is security at its best, and I'm saying this a bit sarcastically, because you actually are eliminating everything, but by doing so, you're actually completely interrupting standard flow of doing business, which obviously is restricting your employees from getting their jobs done. What Resec is doing is trying to solve the same problem in a completely different way. What we're doing is focusing on the same problem with a prevention approach and not the traditional detection approach. Again, full prevention, not detection. By doing so, in the way that we're doing it, we're reaching ultimate security, much stronger than any solution we've just talked about, without compromising usability. We will demonstrate that in just a second. So to explain what we do, Resec treats the original file as a threat. That's the rule. So the original file always stays out of the organization's network. We store it in a safe place on the customer side. There's no data privacy issues. Everything happens on the customer side. What happens then is that Resec software studies that document, every bit, every byte, every component, every element. And in real time, if we're not blocking the document, for reasons that I'll explain, we're creating a perfect, fully functional replica of that document in real time. When we're recreating the document, we're whitelisting and not blacklisting. So we're only including permitted components into the document. That's why we can guarantee that it's threat-free. And again, we're doing it in real time, so there's no impact on the end user. I'll show one more example just to make sure this point is nailed home, and then I'll pause for questions. So here is a PDF that is approaching your organization's perimeter. Resec software, as a rule, will stop this document. We will block it outside of the network. We're then going to study that document. We are using a couple of very advanced detection mechanisms, so that if the document is infected or if it's trying to bypass the organization's policy, we will not let it and we will block it. For everything else, we're going to reconstruct a safe replica of the document. It will look the same, it will feel the same. It will have the same formulas, the same word revisions, if it's a legal document, and so on and so forth. This is the document that we will send to the end user in real time. The end user will not be able to tell the difference and will be able to continue doing their business as usual with no impact whatsoever. Just a quick pause for any questions. Please feel free either through Q&A or if you have a link to the multi-point team, feel free to share.
They can also ask through the chat or the Q&A.
Right, that's exactly what I meant. Perfect. So I see that the Q&A is still empty. I will continue. Please feel free to write away, and if I spot questions there, I'll pause.
Mr. Tal, just two words in Arabic. شباب اللي عنده أي استفسار أي شيء مش واضح رجاء يسأل. موضوع ريسك كثير مهم لأي حدا بده يمنع أي فيشنج من خلال بوب اب أو من خلال أي إيميل فيه اتاتشمنت. يفهم هاي السوليوشن، هاي التكنولوجيا كثير مهمة. اسألوا أسئلة وراح تشوفوا إنه قديش هذا الشيء ضروري، حتى لو أنتم عندكم مؤسسة صغيرة أو أنتم بارتنر وعندكم كاستمر عنده مخاوف. الإشي مش بس متعلق للميل بوكس، متعلق بأكثر من هيك شغلات. وإحنا اليوم بالسوق طبعنا في أتاك كبير على الميل بوكس. Thank you, Mr. Tal.
No problem. Thank you, Abdallah. Again, any questions, I'll make sure to take note and we'll pause there. Resec is providing this solution for multiple threat vectors, the most common ones in most organization space. What you can see here is up top, both cloud and on-premise email. So we integrate with Office 365 very commonly, or Exchange, depending on your infrastructure. On the right-hand side, you'll see a product named Resecure Endpoint. It's not a true endpoint solution. What this solution is doing is protecting from removable devices being transferred into the organization. So we connect to a device control. The device control ensures to protect from the device itself. This way, we ensure that the user can access the files only through Resec, and then we will make sure that only the safe copies are placed inside. I will demonstrate this in just a second. Resecure API means that you can transfer the document to us from whichever location you wish, which system you wish, through API. File server is a directory watcher. It means that Resec will be connected to a designated directory and ensure that anything that is uploaded into the directory or modified in that directory is protected by Resec. The most common use case for this today are transfers between networks. The future of this is a solution that will protect from cloud storage. We already have an MVP for OneDrive and SharePoint, and in the future we intend on adding additional cloud storage solutions such as Dropbox, Box, Google Drive, and others. File portal at the bottom means an upload into your organization from external users into a digital portal. This has become extremely popular since the COVID-19 pandemic, with organizations trying to interact with their external users through such portals. So Resec will basically connect to the portal. Nothing will be uploaded before it's protected by Resec first. FTP, pretty self-explanatory, similar to API. And Resecure Web, all the way to the left, is an integration that we have with web isolation solutions. They protect from the browsing. We protect from the web downloads. Okay? So all of these solutions, this is a critical factor. Everything from email all the way to API is fully automatic. The user does not experience Resec. Resec is installed behind the scenes. Only the IT department is familiar with what we're doing. The user continues doing their business as usual. The only standalone in this regard, or the only exception, is the Resecure Endpoint solution, so protection from removable devices. So I'll actually start our demonstration with that solution for the very, very simple reason that I want to make sure that you see how visual the impact is and what Resec is doing behind the scenes. So let me shift back.
Oh, there is a question in the chat about digital signatures.
I don't see the questions. I just opened the Q&A. I don't see it. Let's see the chat.
It's in the chat.
Hang on. Okay, that's a great question. So if it is a digital signature, we have one of three ways to actually deal with that. Option number one, which some of our customers elect to do, is to actually block such documents, meaning to make sure that such documents are not arriving to the end user so that they actually do rely on the original. There's different ways to protect the original in that scenario. The second one is to actually pass the document through two of Resec's security detection engines and then pass it to the end user without the reconstruction, since the reconstruction breaks the digital signature. The third and last one is actually one of our patents, and this is something that we're working on as we speak, and the idea there is simple. The idea there is that Resec recognizes that the document is digitally signed. Resec does reconstruct the document and replaces the original digital signature with a Resec stamp that basically confirms that it was digitally signed, and also with a link to the original document. So those are the three options of how we process digitally signed documents. I hope that answered the question. Michael, if there's anything else, I'll be happy to take it on. Okay, so moving over to the demo, and thanks Asaf for pointing that out. If you see other questions, if you please could alert, it'd be great. I don't see it on my screen, okay? So let's take a look. Again, we're showing the endpoint solution. So what I'm demonstrating right now is transferring from a removable device into my machine or into the network. And you're seeing two folders here. You're seeing on the left-hand side an input folder. This represents my USB. And on the right-hand side, you can see the output folder, and this represents any folder that the customer chooses where they want Resec's new files, the clean files, to be placed in. Obviously, it's currently empty. We haven't done anything yet. Okay. What will happen to demonstrate the actual use case, the user will plug in their USB. They will not have a way to access the USB if it's not the Resec system. And here's Resec system. Resec system is very straightforward. Input folder on the left, output on the right. So it represents the folders that you select in a very simple manner. Left-hand side, outside the network. Right-hand side, after Resec's work, inside the network. We're going to look at a very specific example right here, which is a PDF that we like to show for two main reasons. Let me just make it smaller. The first reason is that from a visual standpoint, it's a very rich document. You can see the colors, you can see fonts, you can see signatures, you can see pictures on the right, tables on the left, URLs at the bottom. What we want to show you first and foremost, just how strong our replication capabilities are. The second thing is, people falsely think often that PDF is a safe format. It is not. What we've done is we've easily manipulated this document and we've planted malware here. So there are multiple scripts here hidden within the document. We've made sure that all of them are safe so that we're not doing anything bad. And we've also made sure that all of them are visual, which is not what would happen in real life, but we want to demonstrate to you that there is something bad in this document. So take a look. I'm scrolling on the right-hand side, no clicks. And I shift over the left-hand side of the document, and you can see that there's a script there that's redirecting me to a phishing site. When I scroll further down, the right-hand side is completely safe. It looks good. The left-hand side of the document, I'm actually hovering over a script which allows the attacker to grab access of anything they want from my machine, include it to my Outlook, and send it on my behalf to whoever they want. This is a very common source of attack. We're seeing many different financial institutions reaching out to us about such attacks. Scrolling all the way to the bottom, this is a very common question in our sessions. People ask about URLs. So how can we treat URLs? Look at the first one. It says learnfinancialliteracy.com. That's where the user wants to go. When they're about to click it, you can see that they're being misdirected to a phishing site. So the attacker is tricking the end user who's not noticing the underlying URL to the text that is on the document. Let me show you what we're doing about all three attacks. So remember, the user plugs in their USB, Resec system pops up. This is the document that we just looked at. So the user simply selects it. When the user clicks the center arrow, Resec system begins processing, runs the document through multiple processing engines, which we will explain in a second, and you will see the outcome on the right-hand side right here. I'll do it on the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Take a look, and it's done. So this document right here is a brand new document that we just created from scratch. Again, it's not this one with something removed. It's a brand new one we just created. You can see that the file size has changed. It's always going to change. It could be slightly bigger or slightly smaller. We're completely restructuring the document bit by bit, byte by byte, so we can never know what the size will end up, but I can tell you that it's always close to the original. You can see that processing this took us 1 second. This is a true indication for what it will take us to process similar documents, which is a PDF document in this case, and the Office suite, fairly large in that regard. They will be processed within a select few seconds at the most. Okay, we'll go over to the output folder, and here's the new document we just created. Let's open it up, and we will compare them side by side. Same size. So this is the bad one. This is the original. You can see that by a quick hovering of the mouse. This is the new one we just created. So first of all, take a look. Visually, it's identical. It always will be identical. It's one of our biggest competitive advantages. We've processed more than 300 million files for our customers in 2020, all of them impeccable. This is a real game changer in the space, as other CDR vendors struggle with maintaining the balance between the security that CDR is supposed to do and the usability that we're talking about. And the first factor in usability is document fidelity. So the document fidelity is always going to be impeccable. Then from a security standpoint, you can see that we've reconstructed this document without the bad scripts. So no more bad script here, no more access to my email. And when we go all the way to the bottom to the bad URL, you can see here that we notice that the user is being tricked and we've matched the text to the URL. I'll quickly just explain this. We are a policy-based system, extremely thorough and extremely flexible. For URLs, we have three main options. Option number one, block all URLs. I would say about 50% of our customers choose to do that. Option two is compare the URL to reputation engines. And option number three is to do what I've just done here, match the text to the URL. I'm going to continue in just a second, but I'll pause to make sure that if we have questions, they're answered. Let's go to the Q&A. There was something there. I see that it's been answered. That's great. No, I see. Okay, fantastic. So Michael is asking, what about compressed files or docs with password protected? I'm going to show you that right now, Michael. This is the next step of the demo. We'll show what we do about zip files that are actually encrypted. Again, one of our strong competitive advantages. And for the anonymous attendee, let's see. You also have the capacity to verify proper code signing for files. Whitelisting files are not properly code signed. I'm not sure what you mean by code signed. The main idea is simple. The components that are allowed by the document manufacturer will be added to the new document that we reconstruct. I'll explain this point. So this is a PDF we were looking at. PDF is run by Adobe. Adobe has a very clear set of instructions of what is allowed in an Adobe document, so in a PDF. When we are recognizing that it's a PDF, and obviously the version of the PDF and so on and so forth, when we're recreating the document, we will only include permitted elements. So I'm not fully sure on the intent for code signing, but again, what will be included is anything that is permitted by the document manufacturer. I hope that answers the question. If not, we can take that offline right after this. So this is a PDF example, but as Michael was asking, let's look for something a little more sophisticated. So we're going to go back to the system right here. And what you can see, obviously, is that we have a whole selection of documents here. We have pictures, we have Excel sheets, we have PowerPoints. You know, this is a true indication of what a POC with Resec looks like. You can basically send any document type through. You'll see the performance, how quickly we do it, how the file fidelity is, how well we can scale if that's something you wish to test. But most importantly, you will see the security aspect. You can send infected documents through and you will see the outcome. Just to entertain you guys, let's just run a quick picture. So this flies through less than a second, and this is us with the exiting Prime Minister of Israel, Mr. Netanyahu, right here. In a cyber tech conference a couple of years ago, we were selected to meet with him back then. So again, that was just a quick example. You can pass anything you want through and you'll see the outcome very quickly. But again, to the question that Michael asked. So take a look at this file. This is a zip file. I'm selecting it. I want to sanitize it through Resec, so I want to receive the protected file. So I try to run it through, and you can see that it has failed. You can see the status is because it was blocked by policy. And the reason is that no password was supplied for the encrypted file. So all I have to do, very simply put, I go to the lock sign next to the document, I select it, I enter the password, I say okay. This allows Resec now to get access into the file. I pass it through, and you can see that it flies straight through. Took us a second, and here's the document. We go to the output folder, and here's the new zip file that we just recreated. I will open it up, and you can see that by policy, in this case, we re-encrypted it. I enter the password, and I open it up, and the user can get safe access to a document that was recreated by Resec. Everything is maintained, formulas are maintained, everything stays as is, and we can process encrypted documents. This is a true game changer. Existing solutions today existing gateway solutions, either don't process encrypted at all, and because of, well, not either, sorry, they do not process encrypted at all, and what they do is either block it or pass them through with no security checks whatsoever. Some of the most prominent email security solutions in the world today will quickly admit to you that what they do for encrypted attachments is simply pass them through with no security checks whatsoever. Now that I've shown you this, I want to shift over to a very quick demonstration of our email solution for the exact same files that we just looked at. So we'll run for the same ones, and you'll see the experience now for an end user that is connected to, that has their inbox, connected to Resec. So I hope everyone can see the new screen I have up right now. And what you can see here, this is a video. I did not want to rely on mail server connectivity for the sake of this webinar. What we have, very simply put, is the outgoing inbox on the left. This is where we will send the emails from. On the right-hand side, right here, this is an inbox that is connected and secured by Resec. So I will press play and quickly show you the experience that the user will have. So you already get the gist of it. We're going to open up the same documents that we just saw. So we will see the same PDF, and we will see the same encrypted document. I want to show you the exact same experience, but for email. Quick fast forward. Again, apologize for this. There we go. So go right over here. We want to generate the email. Excuse me just one second, guys. It was reset when I opened up the video. We've placed it before exactly where it's supposed to be, and obviously we jumped. There we go. Okay, so we're including the PDF example that we just saw on the left-hand side, and we're sending it to the destination on the right-hand side. Now, you already saw how long it takes Resec to process this. 1 second. It's that quick. The way Resec processes email, Resec acts as an MTA, which basically means that we receive your mail traffic. We only process the mailboxes you asked us to process. We then recreate both the email body as well as the attachment, and we deliver it back to the mail server to be delivered to the end user. And you will be able to see it right now. There it is right there. I'm refreshing in the video. There it is right there. So this is the PDF example. We're opening it up. And you can see that it looks exactly the same. Here's the email body as it was, and you can see the attachment is right there. You see that we added a note at the bottom saying the email was secured by Resec. That is customizable to whatever you may wish it to be. The attachment, again, is and was fully secured by Resec. We're going to open it up to show you that the same behavior you saw in the previous demo is what you'll see here. So user receives the attachment, opens it up, and you can see that it's identical. And again, we completely remove the threats, very much the same as we showed earlier on. To put this in reference, this is, I think, a critical point for you guys. For email security solutions, they have the same problems as the solutions that I was describing earlier. They're relying on detection technologies. At best, they have a sandbox at the end of it, which is adding latency. So I'll pause right here just to explain. If you were using Microsoft's ATP solution, Advanced Threat Protection, currently called Defender for 365, if you were using that, what you would see here instead of the attachment is an attachment that is saying ATP scanning, okay? And it would take you a minute and a half, maybe 3 or 4, depending on what is in that document. So what you get with Resec is stronger security, again, coverage from 0 days, coverage from advanced threats that other solutions are not covering, and you have the same document to actually continue using without the latency that other solutions would add. So this is the vanilla example. Let's shift over now and take a look at the encrypted example. And again, for encrypted, I don't like using this all too often, but it truly is a game changer. If you're looking at competing mail solutions, they just pass them straight through or force the organization to block all encrypted attachments. A major, major issue, knowing that users are encrypted attachments more and more today. So we included that zip file. We're passing it through to the right-hand side. Same process. Resec receives the email from the mail server. Resec reconstructs both the attachment as well as the mail body, sends it to the mail server. But in this case, we have a unique scenario where we don't want the end user to receive the encrypted until it was processed by Resec. So here's the email. We're opening it up. And take a look at the attachment. It's not the true attachment. It's a text file. So not the zip file. It's a text file, and it says failure. Opening it up, you'll see that there's a clear message for the end user that a password is required. Why? Because it was an encrypted document, of course. To get access to the document and ensure that you can actually enter the encrypted password, you go to the bottom of the email, you select a link, it redirects you to a Resec web portal. It shows you the details of your email without actually seeing the content because we've not opened the encryption yet. We can enter the encryption password, submit it. Resec now does the processing, again, from scratch, rebuilding the attachment, rebuilding the email, and sending it back to the mail server. You'll see at the bottom a successful message that we have completed the task. We go back to the mailbox, open it up. Here's the new email. And now you can see that the attachment is fully usable, same format that it was. And again, same behavior that we showed in the previous demo. User will open it up, enter the password, and will continue doing their business as usual. Okay, we'll open it up. There it is right here. And bingo. Okay, so that is our mail security solution. It's one of our new solutions. It's a true alternative to current advanced threat solutions, and it's a perfect solution to be an add-on to your Office 365. I see that we have a question, so let me try to address it. There we go. There's the question. Do you consider Resec as a full-fledged email security solution having anti-spam, anti-phishing, DLP, etc.? The answer is no. We're not a full-fledged email security solution. We're a complementary one to existing ones, by the way, much like the ones you've listed here. So there are many complementary anti-spam, anti-phishing, DLP, etc. Unfortunately, that is one of the major issues of the security space, given the complexity that it entails. So each solution is dealing with a different part of the problem. However, if you add Resec on top of Office 365, you would be in pretty good shape for all of the topics that you've mentioned here, and Resec would provide you the perfect coverage for advanced threats. Okay, so no, we're not an anti-spam solution, not a DLP solution, even though we have some DLP components. We do stop some phishing attacks, but we're not a classic anti-phishing solution. We complement these solutions better than anyone else, and we deal with what these solutions cannot deal with, which is the strongest anti-malware solution out there. I hope this answers the question. Back to the presentation. Let's just quickly explain how it works, what it is that we're actually doing. So Resec is built with three very powerful standalone security engines. The first one is called the Intelligent File Firewall. What we're doing here is we're identifying the true file type based on structure, not based on the extension. So remember that I said Resec breaks the file bits and bytes. By doing so, we're able to recognize the true file type, both of the parent file as well as within the file of any embedded objects or anything else that may be contained in that document. Once we recognize the true file type, we enforce the organization's policy to that file type. Very simple example, let's say that you do not want your end users receiving .exe files. This engine will recognize the .exe files and will block them if you've asked us to do so. If the exe file is embedded or hidden within a Word document or any other format, we will be able to recognize it within the document. We will reconstruct the full document and we will strip out the exe file. So again, allowing you to continue using the safe elements of the document, completely leaving out whatever you want left out. Again, a very powerful standalone solution in its own right. To give you a frame of reference, Mimecast, the well-known security email security solution, Mimecast for their advanced threat protection component have a solution that is doing just this, nothing else. If it's not blocked by engine number one, the file is going to continue into our antivirus multiscan. We use best of breed, either 3 or 5, depending on the customer's wish. Known AV engines. What we're doing by those is we're trying through our proprietary multiscan to reach the ultimate detection rates or the best detection rates for known malware, balancing out minimum false positives. So we're not trying to go to 16 or 32 engines, which is very high in false positives, very high detection rate. We want to go for high enough detection rate and fairly low false positives. That's what the second engine does. It blocks known malware and it is able to report to you exactly what you were attacked with and by whom. Okay, so that's the second engine right there. If a file is not blocked by engine 1 or 2, it's going to proceed to the content disarm and reconstruction engine. That is where we will reconstruct the file and provide the threat replica to the end user. To be very clear on what is the competitive advantage in this regard, if you think about detection solutions, engines 1 or 2 are doing what detection solutions are doing, but even better because of the true file type recognition and because of the multi-scan versus just one AV. That is the first component of our solution. The third component, so content disarm and reconstruction, what we're doing there is we're basically covering up for the limitation of detection solutions, ensuring that no 0 days get in, and ensuring that no false negatives occur. Okay? Hence the complete anti-malware solution, both for known malware as well as unknown attacks. Our architecture is simple and to the point. Again, everything is installed and done, performed on the customer side. We are installed either on-premise or in a private cloud. Original file gets in, is recognized by the system. Original always stays out unless policy dictates a unique exception. Goes through the intelligent file firewall, true file type detection. If it's not blocked, AV multi-scan. If it's not infected and not blocked, reconstructed through the CDR engine, and a threat-free replica is delivered to the end user right here on the right. The exception to this flow are executables and macros. So CDR technology cannot in any way, shape, or form, and will never be able to reconstruct an executable or a macro. Fortunately, that's about 1 to 2% of organization traffic. And what we do about macros and executables is the following. Either block them. Again, the vast majority of our customers are electing to do that. So you block executables and active content. The IT department can decide how they want to proceed with those, if at all. Option number 2 is to pass executables and active content to the end user without being reconstructed after the first 2 security engines. And number 3, we can actually send the document following the first 2 security engines to a sandbox. If you have one, we can integrate to whatever you have. If you don't have one, we can bring our own for you. That is the recommended approach. Why is that extremely beneficial for the customer if they still want or have to use a sandbox in that regard? We're tremendously reducing the dependency on the sandbox. So if you were supposed to have 10 sandboxes to process your organization's traffic, using Resec, you will actually only need 1. About 98 to 99% of your traffic will go through Resec, get much better security, 0-day coverage, encrypted documents covered, large files covered, no latency, and together with the sandbox, Resec will still be 40% cheaper than the sandbox as a standalone solution. So much better security solution, much better from a usability standpoint, and cheaper. That's why the ROI of combining the solutions makes sense for our customers. Quick walkthrough in our benefits. We'll jump to a case study and leave room for some questions at the end. So Resec solution, again and again, to be emphasized, is the ultimate protection from file-based threats, combining unparalleled security with the best usability out there. We're achieving airtight security, prevention not detection, known and unknown coverage, no false negatives. We then are able to balance it out with best usability, so superior document fidelity. All of the documents will be true to the original. We can do this at full scale. Our system works with a cluster of servers that can be scaled infinitely. So it's one smart cluster. You can add or remove servers as you wish to scale or downsize as you wish without any business interruption. We do this extremely quickly, as you've seen in the demo, and as you can obviously test in a POC. And we have full coverage of encrypted files and extra large files, which are strong competitive advantages to our direct competitors. Another major benefit of the system is that we integrate with dozens and dozens of leading security solutions today. This is just a small sample. The idea is extremely simple. We do not want to interrupt what it is that you're doing. We understand that we have to fit within your security posture, and we do it in a very simple way through secure APIs with your existing leading solution providers. A very quick case study, and as promised, I will stop for questions. So we have Bank of Pauline. It's the largest bank in Israel. The bank suffered a major breach in 2014, despite using dozens of different security solutions at the time. This is a large organization, a major target to attackers, highly sophisticated in their security regard, and they selected us. So we've been their provider for the past almost 7 years now. And what we're seeing is that the results are phenomenal. More than 6 million files processed per month now across multiple threat vectors. We've reduced their processing time by about 85%, so a tremendous decrease that we're heavily reliant on sandboxes. We allow them to enhance compliance, much better ROI on maintenance and cost effectiveness, but most importantly, they are saying that we're one of only a select few security solutions they're using today that has never been breached. So that, I think, sums up Resec in a nutshell, the true value of the solution. I will pause here and answer any questions that you may have. I see that there's nothing in Q&A, so feel free either in the chat or Q&A to ask away.
Thank you, Tal, for wonderful presentation.
Thank you, Abdallah.
Actually, I have a question regarding some organizations that are looking for awareness sessions for their team, their employees. So do you have, or can you provide such awareness session?
Awareness session for cybersecurity or awareness session for our solution?
It's about, how to avoid the phishing emails or something like that.
No, so we're not we're a product company, not a service company. So that's actually not a service that we provide. However, I'll tell you two important things. Number one, So I'll say two important things, Abdallah. Number one, we pride ourselves in the service that we provide to our partners as well as our customers. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that very often, both in the partner training or in the customer training, our security personnel, our IT team in the training sessions ensure to actually go above and beyond and discuss more than the scope of Resec solution, giving the customer recommendations about their security posture for whatever threat vector they're talking about. So I think that's an important factor, number one. A second point, which is only partially relevant, but I do think it's important to bring up, when we were talking about removable devices before, the example that I demonstrated is the actual solution on the PC itself. What we can also do, what we do for many large organizations worldwide, is provide the same solution on standalone kiosks. I'll show quickly what that looks like for those that may not know. Right here. So this is an example I'm talking about. So it's a designated station, which could be, it could be a tablet, it could be a PC, it could be a laptop, it could be a station similar to this. And that specific station is where users will come in and bring in their removable devices to work. We have some oil and gas providers, we have government, we have banks, and many more that have dozens of these spread within the organization. The reason I'm bringing it up in respect to your question is some of our customers choose to start their purchase with us by buying several of these machines, 1, 2, 3, whatever they wish, for the simple reason that they can brand it with cybersecurity awareness messages. So it's a physical station, it's a big one within the organization. I know it's not what you were asking, but it's a physical station within the organization with a clear message about cybersecurity mindfulness. And what that does, it actually allows the CISO to know that people are walking around and are thinking about, hey, you know what? I need to be very cautious about where I'm bringing files in from, and so on and so forth. Again, I know it's not what you were asking, but I thought it's a good opportunity to share that.
No, thank you for raising this point. Thank you again. Thank you, Asaf, Amir, and John. Give me summarize in Arabic because I see almost all the attendees are familiar to me and I know as individuals. So Thank you everybody for joining this webinar. عن جد شكرا للجميع على المشاركة، على الحضور، على الوقت. إخواني، ريسك مش حيلا سوليوشن. أنا مش لله هيك موجود في هذا الويبينار، وفي ويبينارز ثانية في زملاء اللي بيقدموه. أنا مؤمن في السوليوشن تبع ريسك، لأنه ممكن يكون security solution مناسب لكل مؤسسة